Hello, welcome to Sephra's Pop Culture Channel. And today, well, I did it. I saw Rise of Skywalker. And so this will be lots of spoilers. There's no way to talk about this without all the spoilers. So click away if you haven't seen it yet, because, you want to be surprised when you see the movie. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to see more stuff. Now, I meant to do a video right after I saw the movie so I could capture my real feelings. But then my son ran into some friends at the theater he used to work with, so I ended up yapping to them for about an hour. And then I got home, and because I hadn't been on the internet for a couple of days, because I I didn't want to see spoilers and all that. I went over to YouTube and I saw there were a lot of channels doing live talking about this because they had all just come back from the movie or had seen it the day before and were just trying to rack up money talking about Star Wars, I guess. Here in Canada, we can't do the money thing. I don't have enough subscribers anyways. I think I have five, and you need like 10,000. But anyways, so a lot of hate and a lot of hating last night on those channels. And, of course, I was looking at the channels that I've actually unfollowed over the last couple years that I used to follow because they are so full of hate. Um, so I watched just to kind of get a sense of what exactly they're hating on. Um, I personally, I'm still not too sure how I feel. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed The Last Jedi. That much I will say. The Last Jedi, when I left the theater, I felt like that was the end of the trilogy, and that was one of my biggest complaints about The Last Jedi, was that they killed off Luke, and then the ending, the Force is everywhere and anyone can have it and all that, really felt like the ending, a very big ending, and could have been the ending to the Star Wars saga. So when we go see The Rise of Skywalker, we're not too sure even what the story is supposed to be. We don't know who's good and bad. We don't even know what they're fighting for. We know nothing, right? So it was really hard to get excited for 2 years because we didn't know, because it felt wrapped up. And so even going in last night, though, as much as I tried to stay away from things, I did know there were people come bringing people back, and I thought, oh man, it's just going to be a big fan service thing because they're trying to win back, people to the Star Wars franchise. So I don't really know why, because they've said this is the last movie, so who cares anymore? With that being said, I'm just going to try and stick to notes because I know I can talk forever and get totally off track because we see me do it all the time. So, first, I want to talk about the whole Palpatine thing. And so, we saw in the trailer that they were bringing Palpatine back. And to me, that spoiled everything for me, anyways. When we saw that trailer and his laugh and all that, and then he was at Star Wars Celebration and stuff, because it would have been really cool to have seen that movie and then had seen Palpatine and went, holy shit, like, oh my God, Palpatine pulling the strings. Um, but we didn't get to enjoy that sudden revelation because it had been spoiled for us in the trailers. Now, it's funny, when The Force Awakens first came out, I watched many Star Wars channels that had said that Rey is probably a Palpatine or had been created by Palpatine, or had been created by Darth Vader. So the minute I heard that Palpatine was in the movie, I thought back to those and thought, yeah, they're going to make Rey a Palpatine, even though in my heart I kind of wanted her to be a Solo or, a real Skywalker. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, I had said way back in my initial gut feeling from The Force Awakens that Snoke was Palpatine, or Snoke was a projection of Palpatine, or Snoke had been created by Palpatine. And yeah, and that's how they did go with that theory. Ultimately, that is what they decided that was all about. Now, one of the things, and my son explained it to me, but it's kind of like he said, "Okay, mom, this is what he says, I know you get mad when I always talk about video games, but this whole movie was a video game." He said it is a video game, like with the actual Star Wars video games. He said it kind of made him mad because they were taking things from the video game. But he said then, 'cause he's a huge Dragon Ball Z, so he said a lot of the stuff was like Dragon Ball Z. Um, with the way they battle and all this stuff. And so for someone like me, like I get video games. I had two sons watching them play video games my whole life and bought them other games and books and so on. So I get it because this is Disney. This is suddenly for kids, even though the original Star Wars wasn't. So they have to, make sure they have things in there that look cool and are video game-ish. But my concern was the whole business about Palpatine saying that if Rey kills, like he wanted Rey to kill him so that he could be more powerful. All the Siths that live in him would go into her, and then there's all this back and forth and stuff, and then Rey gets all the Jedi's that have ever existed put into her for some reason, even though she's a Palpatine. Anyway, so he kept saying, kill me, because then you can become the biggest evil Sith Lord in the world, and I'll still live on in you, and all this stuff. And, blah, blah, blah. She does kill him, but she doesn't become a Sith because all the magic happened, I guess. And, I'm going to see the movie many more times. But yeah, Dorian said, yeah, it's like a video game because she had the things and she reflected, whatever. So to me, it's like, okay, she killed him. Why isn't she a Sith? That's my simplistic, I'm just a mom watching movies thing. So that's my thing. Oh, I hope my hair's not doing the rattly thing on the mic. Here, I'll pull it back. I know that's super annoying. It's annoying even to me when I watch my videos. Okay, there it is out of the way. So, our man Kylo. Kylo's the one character I have been pretty happy with through this entire series. I like the fact he exists. I like the fact that, he has conflict. However, because The Last Jedi um, took everything in a different direction, we had to kind of go back to the beginning and rejig what we knew about Kylo from The Force Awakens and then continue on in this movie. And I was very, very happy to see Kylo got his flappy cape back. 'Cause like I said, you girls love capes. You want to. I love him in his cape, although he never put his hood up, I don't think, but that's okay. Um, so I was happy about that. Then they had him he had someone put his helmet back together and it looked like a dude from Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes, like like when they're in the yeah, so he had like a chimp create I guess an alien, I don't know, create his remake, put his helmet back together or whatever, and um that was weird. And I'm not sure why he liked his smashed up helmet. And I still don't know how he got it from Starkiller Base when Starkiller Base, he put it on the ramp, killed his dad, and then they all went running around doing things. And I don't know how his helmet survived the Starkiller Base blow up. And for the longest time, I thought, that maybe he had more than one helmet. But yeah, but he had this smashed helmet and put it back together because I guess he's poor and can't afford a new helmet. I don't know. Anyways, that was odd because it never really, like, it was all smashed and scuffed, and I guess that's a metaphor for his smashed and scuffed soul or whatever. But yeah, that was weird. Oh, what I really liked, really, really liked, um, at the very, very beginning, and I think it's in one of the trailers because now I can watch trailers. Um, where Kyle, they have the scroll and then they say Kylo's filled with rage, so I'm like, oh, thank God they're making him angry again instead of all whiny. And so he's like going through and he's like a warrior or a knight from medieval times just slashing his way through the forest and killing things and angry and the capes flying and oh, it was so cool. I loved that so much. I'm like, yes, that was cool. That was cool. I like that. That was good. And I liked what they started in they kind of tiny bit, had the connection in The Force Awakens between Kylo and Rey. And then The Last Jedi, it was really cool how they would cross into each other's space. And then so they really amped that up in The Rise of Skywalker, where they're communicating with each other telepathically or being in each other's scenery and stuff. And that was so cool. Ray gives him a lightsaber through the vision, and he gives one back, and that was really cool. I really liked that blending of, to me, because I do, as those of you who watch some of my other videos, the horoscopes and astrology and my message of the day and law of attraction and all that stuff, all the metaphysical ideas of astral projection and being in, anyways, the force projections, all that stuff. I love that stuff. That's what I love to see in Star Wars. And so that was really cool. I really enjoyed that a lot. I really, really did. I didn't so much enjoy the ending. Um, I didn't really. Oh, my blind's showing you my messy house. Um, where like the whole Romeo and Juliet thing just really, I don't know. I didn't really like how they kissed. But then again, I don't know. I wasn't really a Raylo, so even though I felt their connection, I felt it would have been stronger if they never had kissed because the tension was so great, and then the tension broke. You know, and, I guess I don't have trouble with them having a kiss. I don't know. I'm of two minds of that. I need to digest it more. That they actually did do the Raylo thing. I was really hoping they didn't since he's a mass murderer and a psychopath. And I don't really believe that he would suddenly change so quickly, even though, his mom died to make him a good boy or whatever that was all about. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about I hated didn't hate, but I was so happy. I almost cheered in the theater when he clawed his way back up. I knew he wasn't dead, and then came to save her. That I liked that. But then the whole Romeo, you're dead, I'm dead, you're dead, I'm dead, and the kiss, and yeah, I don't know, I don't know, but that's fine. It's not. It's still not. Doesn't make me angry like some other things have over the years. Now, the Han Solo vision Kylo has of his dad. It's funny because when I read somewhere that Harrison Ford had come to the uh, screening, and it wouldn't be unusual. I think he's been to all of them, and why not? But then I had a flash that I wonder if he's actually in the movie. I wonder if they force ghosted him because surely he would talk to Kylo at some point, as would Darth Vader and others. So then Kylo does see his dad when his mom's dying, I guess. It was weird. And they have pretty much the same conversation they have in The Force Awakens, almost beat for beat, because I watched that scene a lot because I really love it. I love in The Force Awakens when Kylo and Han, when Kylo kills Han, I love the use of lighting. I love the tension. I love the music. I just love the tension in that scene in The Force Awakens. And so they kind of replayed it a little bit, almost the same dialogue, beat for beat. Um, in this one, and this time Kylo's going to be a good boy, I guess, and gets forgiveness from his father for killing him. But what about all the other people you killed, Kylo? Um, so that was. interesting and very much fan service because people were so angry that Harrison Ford was killed, but Harrison Ford wanted to be killed. But so that was definitely a big fan service, like the Raylo kiss was, and some other things that went on. Definitely J.J. Abrams has been watching Twitter and YouTube videos and so on. He gave a lot, and I do have to say that as one of the fans that had missed a few things, that we get have grown to love in Star Wars, such as I've got a bad feeling about this and all that. He put all that stuff back in. That and that's what I liked about. Anyways, I'm not. I'll go. I'll talk about that in a minute. So Leia, the whole Leia thing. I don't know. It was all so. I didn't get as emotional as I thought I would when I saw her. I guess because I was prepared for it, and I've already cried so much the last few years. It's, it's creepy seeing her, and since I do see all the other movies and watch outtakes and stuff, you could tell she's just regurgitating lines that have already been said or would have been said in the other movies. I like that they use Billy Lord again, who's her real life, is Carrie Fisher's daughter. And then, so I still go back to Rogue One when I saw Rogue One, and then they showed Princess Leia CGI'd, and I remember at that time something kind of punched me in the stomach, and I went, "Oh my God!" And then Carrie Fisher died, and I wasn't. I to this day I'm not sure what that feeling was. If I knew she was gonna die, or it just felt creepy because they CGI'd Peter Cushing, who was already dead. And then I'm like, why would they CGI someone living? Yeah, anyways. So now here in this movie, she's CGI'd and it's footage blended in. And then there's like a small bit with young Leia with her brother training, and that's a young Leia CGI. And it was all kind of creepy. I was glad she died, but I'm not sure why she didn't disappear when she died, like Luke did, and Yoda did, and Obi-Wan did, and Kylo did. Though I think they had her body. I think they were trying to do a thing where she was waiting for Kylo because she died trying to make Kylo good, the mother's love and all that stuff. And then so they just had like her body draped, and then when Kylo died, his force kind of went there, or I don't know. It was just all weird. And Luke. So our theater cheered when Luke came on. Um, Luke talked about, oh, Leia would want you to do this and that and blah blah de blah. But if Leia's dead, why didn't she just be a Force ghost and tell her herself? That was my big question. You got Han Solo, who's not a Force user at all, coming back to haunt Kylo. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know. But yeah. So we had all these ghosts. What am I trying to say here? I don't know what that note is. So in my theater, people cheered when it started. The Star Wars came on. Not a lot. It wasn't like a huge, overwhelming like the last two times we went to see Star Wars on opening day. It was kind of like oh, we hope it's going to be okay, but we're not sure kind of cheer. And only a few people in the theater cheered. I was one of them. People cheered when they saw Luke. I laughed out loud, and I don't know if other people did when Luke says something like, "You have to treat those things with respect," because one, he's alluding to the Ryan Johnson saber toss we all hated. And then two, I think he's referring to, in my head, I thought he was referring to all those memes where they show Luke looking at the thing and then they have the it's blowing his head out, killing himself the first time he holds a lightsaber. So I was laughing in my head about that. People cheered when he finally raised that damn X-Wing we've all been wondering about. You knew that had to come back, and it had to. So J.J. Abrams, again, was lurking in the the comment section of everywhere and made sure we got our X-Wing fighter raised. Um, and there was a smattering of clapping when it was over. Um, but not big cheers, not like, holy shit, that was the best, or, nothing like that. But people seemed okay. It wasn't like Last Jedi where people just left stunned and in shock and like, what did I just see? Like, everyone's crying because Luke's dead and all that. So this time around, we didn't have that, like, we just left a funeral or anything. But yeah, and even though the theater was pretty much full, it wasn't the usual buzz and excitement and all that we usually get from these Star Wars things. But I have to say, going into seeing this particular movie, I was looking forward to it because I do like J.J. Abrams, most of his stuff. Like when it comes to his Star Wars, like when he did Force Awakens. I like his use of color. I like how he does fight scenes. I like that we can see what's happening. I like that it's pretty simple and basic, which Star Wars is a simple, basic thing. George Lucas himself said way back, because I used to read all this stuff when A New Hope came out and saw it 28 times that year it came out. And his thing, it's cowboys and Indians in space. It's, good guys versus bad guys in space. I don't think we're allowed to say cowboys and Indians again. I'm sorry if I'm being racially insensitive. I'm thinking about westerns, like the movies he was emulating, not perpetrating bad things. I'm sorry, I don't want to get into that whole discussion. Good versus evil. Um, bands of people that you don't think would necessarily be able to fight a big bad come together and do their best. So the original the idea was just very simple, basic storytelling. And so we went back to that a bit, except there was so much to do because he had to wrap up 9 movies in one movie. And so I think he did pretty good. And like I said, I think it was listening to a lot of the comments and what's divided the fandom. But now, from what I could see last night when I finally allowed myself to read reviews and stuff, that now people are complaining because he was trying to put the fandom back together. So you can't win. You can't win with the Star Wars fans. I thought it was pretty competent. Now, the ending, I don't know. I liked that she went to Tatooine, that Rey went to Tatooine. I cried when I cried when I saw her go to Luke's old home. I don't know why it's still there 40 years later and no one's living there yet, or it hasn't been renovated into condos, or I'm not even sure if Tatooine is actually hasn't been blown up yet, but anyways. Um, but she went to check out his old digs. Too bad she didn't go to his old bedroom and do so. I don't know. But it was weird that it would still even be there 40 years later, or how whatever the timeline is. Um, and then she saw the two suns or moons or whatever, which made me cry because that's our Luke moment, and they tortured us with it in Last Jedi when he died, and then she decides she's a Skywalker, and that was weird to me. Like why Luke and Leia appeared. Why did Leia appear? She never lived there. I don't know. It was weird. And she becomes a Skywalker, so that's the rise of Skywalker. That part didn't work for me at all whatsoever. Um, but yeah, they had to fit the movie title in somehow. If they killed off Kylo Ren, who is a Skywalker, um, I don't know. But then again, Ray never engaged me, and not for the reasons that other people like. I'd never worried about her being a Mary Sue, because I figured the Force works in mysterious ways, and ultimately would find out why she was so powerful. If she's a Palpatine, that's why, or if she's a Skywalker, that's why. It's in her genes, whatever. They did show her training. Oh, one thing I really liked, and I'll have to make more videos, but one thing I really liked was at the beginning they show her training with the little ball that Luke trained with, with her lightsaber. And then later on, when she's dismantles Kylo's ship, with her lightsaber, then the little ball rolls out and it looks just like the training ball. I don't know, I like how, and that's what I like about J.J. Abrams. He does little touches like that if you're paying attention, like most filmmakers do. They have the setup, then the payoff, and J.J. Abrams does that a lot. And he's good at it, and it's simple, but for someone like me, I'm just there for simple stuff. I don't want to think too hard when I'm watching my Star Wars. So J.J. Abrams delivered on lots of lightsaber, lots of lip flipping and leaping, because that's what I really missed in The Last Jedi. There were no space battles, and there was no real lightsaber fights because you knew Luke wouldn't kill Kylo, and then again we knew Ren wouldn't kill Rey because he had already said he wouldn't. So, but then but there was still more tension, probably because we don't know what they're ultimately going to do or want. But then again, you have in the back of your mind, well, it's a Disney movie now, so it can't go too far, you know. But definitely J.J. Abrams was listening to people's complaints, and so he really tried to plug in the holes that people were upset about, um, and I don't want to say do a course correction because there were a lot of things in Last Jedi that are just fine. The only thing I would have liked to have seen is Luke not be dead, but whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'll be back with more thoughts as they come to me over time. So yeah, what would I give this movie? Um, Maybe a 7 out of 10. I was entertained, but you know, nothing will ever affect me like that first well, now they call it A New Hope Star Wars movie. Nothing ever will, because I was a teenager at the time, and the world was so different then, and Star Wars was unlike anything that had ever happened before. It was lightning in a bottle, and you know, we'll never have that again. It's a fluke. There may be something one day that will engage our imaginations like Star Wars did, something that'll come to us that's so different and so new and so unique that's never been done before. But the world is so jaded now, and people are so politically correct and everything that I'm not sure it can ever happen because we're not allowed to have free imagination as we once were. Even my writing has changed a bit as I think about social issues, social agendas. I mean, not the issues, but the way people will just like destroy your career in a heartbeat because you said one thing or did one thing or whatever. And oh, speaking of that, there is a kiss in at the end of the. I personally am more offended by the Kylo, the Reylo kiss than I am about the kiss that there's a kiss in all the celebrations and stuff at the end of the movie. A couple of girls kiss. Like, so what? I think one of them is the. I couldn't. Yeah, it happened so fast. I wasn't too sure who the characters were, but I think the one blonde woman. I think she's been in every single Star Wars movie or almost all of them. We see her all the time. I don't even know what her name is as the actor or as the player, but she kisses someone, and I don't know if it was Billy Lord or who she kissed, but. I live in Toronto. I see women kissing every day, all the time. So I'm walking down the street holding hands, hanging out in the mall, looking at Christmas stuff. You know, it's nothing to me. It's no biggie. You know, I barely blinked, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be a big deal to some people. Some people are going to be offended. Some people are going to be grossed out. Some people are little tiny babies when it comes to seeing two women kiss. Like they seem to not be able to wrap their heads around the fact that love is love, and that people can be in love. That two men, two women can kiss. People of all kinds can kiss, can be in love, can be happy, can enjoy each other, or maybe are just happy because they won the war and kissed. Like it's like like New Year's Eve, you just kiss everyone, right? So I don't see it, but I already saw like I said, I saw a couple of those watched a couple of live feeds for a few minutes each last night, and all those homophobic jerks were going on about that, of course, because they're a bunch of loser homophobics. And that, if that's what they got out of this friggin' 2.5 hour movie, then whatever, you got no life. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments, and I know I'll have lots more to say another day. Bye.